3025. The world has forgotten how to remember, but two keepers still guard the flame of the past. Tonight, they open the book to a single life, a life that refused to end quietly. The crystal wakes in the palm, the pages ignite, and they fall backward through 800 years to the story of Jalal al-Din. He was born a prince of Khwarazm, the mightiest empire of its age, stretching across all of Central Asia. Samarkand, Bukhara, Urgench, cities of turquoise domes, silk, and gold, the beating heart of the Silk Road. His father ruled it all, but the young prince was different. Where the Sultan was cautious, Jalal al-Din was fire, fearless, restless, born for the storm that was coming. Far to the east, another man was rising. His name was Genghis Khan, and he had built the deadliest army the world had ever seen. He offered peace first and sent merchants to trade. But at the city of Otrā, the caravan was seized and slaughtered. It was the spark that lit the world on fire. Genghis Khan turned his whole empire west and swore that Khwarazm would burn. The horde came like a flood no wall could hold. Bukhara fell. Samarkand, the jewel of the east, was broken and burned. The Sultan, his father, did not fight. He fled westward, hunted across his own dying empire. Chased to the edge of the world, he died alone on a small island in the Caspian Sea. But before the end, he named his heir. Not the eldest, not the safest, but the bravest. He gave the broken crown to Jalal al-Din. I was born a prince of Khwarazm in the year 1200, in an empire that stretched across all of Central Asia. Samarkand, Bukhara, Urgench, cities of turquoise domes, silk, and gold, the beating heart of the Silk Road. My father ruled it all, but I was never like him. Where he was cautious, I was fire, fearless, restless. I did not yet know I was born for the storm that was coming. Far to the east, a man was rising. His name was Genghis Khan, and he had built the deadliest army the world had ever seen. He came first in peace, merchants, an offer of trade. But at the city of Otrā, our men seized his caravan and killed them. I will not hide this from you. That was our mistake. It was the spark that lit the world on fire. Genghis Khan turned his whole empire toward us. His horde came like a flood no wall could hold. Bukhara fell. Samarkand, the jewel of the east, was broken and burned. My father did not fight. He fled westward, hunted across his own dying empire, and died alone on a small island in the Caspian Sea. Before the end, he named me his heir, not the eldest son, not the safest. He gave the broken crown to me. I stood alone against the greatest power on earth. My cities were ash. My people were scattered. Any other man would have fled. I did the opposite. I gathered the survivors, the broken, the desperate, and I turned to face the storm. With a small army built from the ruins, I rode east to meet the Mongols in open battle at a place called Parwan, in a narrow valley where their cavalry could not surround us. I made my stand. For 2 days we fought, steel against steel, courage against numbers, and then the impossible. Their line broke. They fled. For the first time in living memory, an army of Genghis Khan was defeated. Across the ruined empire, the news spread like fire. Hope had a name again. It was mine. But such a victory could not be forgiven. It enraged Genghis Khan as nothing before. He sent no more generals. He came himself, with the full might of his empire, riding day and night to crush me before my legend could grow. Outnumbered beyond hope, I retreated south, toward the great river Indus, praying to cross it and live to fight another day. But the Mongols were faster than any army had a right to be. At dawn, on the banks of the Indus, they caught me. My army was small, exhausted, half of it still on the wrong side of the water. Before me stood the endless ranks of the Khan. Behind me, a cliff and the roaring river. I formed my men into a circle, and we fought. Hour after hour, I struck at the heart of their line, again and again. But there were too many. My warriors fell one by one. My own family was lost that day. The circle grew smaller. I understood. The end had come. Genghis Khan gave a rare command. Take this one alive. He wanted to look upon me with his own eyes. But I would never be any man's prisoner. I turned my exhausted horse toward the cliff's edge. I threw down my shield. I gripped my banner. I looked one last time at the empire that had come to break me. Then I spurred my horse over the edge and leapt, in full armor, into the roaring Indus far below. Down through the spray in the morning light, my horse and I plunged into the water, and I swam against the current toward the far shore. On the heights above, the Mongol archers raised their bows. But Genghis Khan lifted his hand and stopped them. In silence, the conqueror of the world watched me climb, alive, onto the far bank, and he turned to his sons and said, "Fortunate is the father of such a son." This is what a man should be. From the greatest conqueror in history to the enemy who had defied him, it was the highest honor he ever gave. I survived, but I never rested. For 10 more years I fought across India, Persia, and the Caucasus, chasing the dream of a kingdom reborn. I won battles, and I lost them. I gained allies, and I lost them too. But I never once knelt to the Mongols. In the end, hunted and alone in the mountains, my story quietly ended, far from the empire I was born to rule. I never won back my throne, but I won something the Mongols could never burn. I became the memory of a people who would not kneel. 8 centuries later, in a nation reborn, my name still stands for courage itself. Courage does not always win the battle, but it always wins the memory. I am Jalal.